Let me start here. If your church is growing, your services are full, your numbers look healthy, but your people are still spiritually shallow, this episode is probably going to mess with you because attendance is easy to count, discipleship is not. And somewhere along the way, we started celebrating movement instead of maturity. People are showing up, they're sitting in rows, they're singing songs, but there's no transformation. And deep down, most leaders feel this, if I'm being honest. They don't just know how to say it out loud without sounding critical. So let me say it clearly. Showing up is not the same as being formed. And confusing the two has weakened the church because attendance and formation are not the same thing. I can go to Planet Fitness every day and not pick up any weight and not change. Because here's the consequence nobody wants to admit. When the attendance becomes the win, discipleship becomes optional. You can attend for years and still be emotionally immature, still biblically shallow, still spiritually fragile. So you don't need transformation to attend. You just need availability, right? And the scariest part, a full room can hide empty lives. What am I trying to say? A crowded service doesn't mean a discipled church. Let's just be honest here. Let's just be honest about the old model. We've built churches around gathering and hoped discipleship would happen by proximity. They sit under good teaching long enough. If they worship consistently, if they hear the word, surely they'll grow. But this is so not true because information does not equal formation. Spiritual growth does not happen by osmosis. And we've confused exposure with obedience. Literally, this is obvious. Jesus never said, go and make crowds. He said, go and make disciples. Here's the delineation. Crowds listened, disciples followed. Those are not the same thing. Listening and following are two different things. I've sat with pastors who've told me, our church is bigger than ever, and I've never been more concerned. Why? Because they couldn't point to real fruit. They couldn't name leaders being developed. They couldn't see people taking ownership of their faith and taking it to the highways and byways. They had consumers, not disciples. And the room was full, which is crazy because we've all been to conferences. We've all read books on how to grow our church because growth is the most important. What we're saying is attendance is the most important because there's other forms of growth. There's growing in faithfulness. There's growing in favor. There's growing in depth. There's growth in vulnerability. There's so much more than just growing in numerically. Because here's the belief to me that has to die. If people showing up consistently, they're growing. No, they're not. They're attending. Because discipleship is intentional. It's slow. It's relational. It's inconvenient, by the way. Discipleship has to cost something. Attendance costs almost nothing. Right now, it would be just about an hour of someone's time in a 24-hour day and is 7 days a week. And stats say people go to church about 1.5 times a month. Well, I don't know how you get the half in there, but that's what the stats say. So that's really not costing anyone anything. It's cheap worship. It's cheap sacrifice. That's what that is. And churches that don't build pathways for formation will default to entertainment, whether they mean to or not. Sometimes it really isn't their motive because you can't outsource spiritual formation to a Sunday gathering. And that's just a core belief of mine. You can't. Sunday mornings are not about spiritual formation and discipleship. You can't disciple crowds the way you can disciple your core because this is the real cost. And this is the real cost that I've seen about celebrating attendance in general. The real cost isn't ego, it's fragility. When crisis hits, when culture shifts, when pressure comes, attendance-only Christians collapse because they were inspired, they weren't discipled. They were encouraged, but they were never challenged. They were comforted but never formed. And leaders are left wondering why people disappear the moments things get hard. This is why. I watched a church lose 40% of its attendance in 1 year. And you know who stayed? The disciples. The ones in groups, the ones serving, the ones living on mission. And this is just a testimony. This is a testament, and it's going to happen every day of the week. Crowds scatter, disciples endure. And if we're just going to be honest here, because I think that's important on this podcast, just to be honest, we say the quiet part out loud. Let's just say it out loud. Attendance feels safer. It's measurable, it's impressive, it's shareable. I've never been to a conference and somebody's asking me, how is the depth of the people that I'm discipling in a building? It's always, what's attendance look like? How is Easter doing? What's your growth look like? It's always about the vanity metrics because discipleship is messy. It requires leaders. It exposes immaturity. It takes time. And if we're not careful, we start building churches that look successful but lack depth. They need to grow deeper, and that's what we all know. Because if growth doesn't produce maturity, it's not health, it's inflation. It's not healthy growth. It's inflation. You can inflate something. If I eat 10,000 calories a day, I'm going to gain weight. That doesn't mean I'm gaining muscle. Healthy things grow, but so does cancer. That's not a statement that you can make in 2026 for it to make sense. So what actually builds disciples? What's our solution here? What do we need to do? How do we make this applicable to our context? If you want discipleship, here's what has to change. You need clear next steps, not vague invitations. Actual pathways. How does somebody in your church genuinely get discipled? Not by you either, not by your preaching. Genuine discipleship at a table. I would even say connect groups or small groups. That's not inherently discipleship. That is a part of discipleship. Discipleship to me is what Jesus did to his three, Peter, James, and John. Model discipleship that way. There's an actual apprenticeship, a genuine connection. We're going to do life together. We're going to sacrifice our time together to be with each other. So you need clear next steps. You need smaller rooms. Formation doesn't happen in rows. It happens in circles. Every time. It happens on one-on-ones too. It happens on individual time. It happens through consistency. Have it on the calendar. Be together. It's not just crowds. You can't disciple crowds. You can only disciple circles. You need expectations. Discipleship without expectations is just inspiration. And this is where it gets really interesting because you have to define the relationship. Jesus chose his disciples, by the way. We got a lot of egotistical pastors waiting for people to come to them. Jesus chose his disciples. He walked up to all of his disciples and said, "Follow me." And that, to me, is an indication we got to be proactive with the people we're looking for. We got to be hunting for the people that we see has a beautiful call in their life and invest in them and be with them and clearly communicate expectations that, hey, I would love to invest in you. I would love to meet every other week at this time. I would love for you to be integrated into our home more. You need expectations, and you need leaders, not just communicators. There is such a difference. You can communicate. Anybody can learn how to communicate. Communication is a skill. You know what's not a skill? A calling. It's not. There are skills that are attached to your calling, but you need leaders who know how to form people, that they can look at clay and see the statue. They see who that person's called to be. This is a divine calling. And this, to me, is the difference between a pastor and a leader. Leaders can develop for sure, but pastors can form. And Sunday teaches. That's what Sundays are about. Sundays are about teaching and preaching Jesus. Every Sunday is about Jesus. Every Tuesday should be about Jesus through the lens of discipleship. You're not going to disciple on Sunday mornings. It's such a fallacy. I used to think better sermons would solve this, by the way. I used to think that. The better preaching, the better development, the better formation. Not true. They don't. Because great teaching without relational formation creates informed spectators. I'm going to say that again because that's the truth of this podcast. Great teaching without relational formation creates informed spectators. The word needs a life to land in. Because attendance is the front door. It is. But discipleship is the house. So if people never move past the door, that's not on them alone. That's a systems problem, and that's a cultural problem. Because the church does not exist to gather crowds. It exists to form people into the image of Christ. So there's one question for you today as you process this and you think through this. Can I clearly explain how someone in our church becomes a disciple of Jesus? If not, that's your work. Not more events, not better branding, not better Facebook ads, not better preaching. Clear formation. Because this is the sauce. If you want to build a healthy, thriving, vibrant church that will last more than 5 years, focus on discipleship. Actual formation. A lot of times in the context of this, it looks like you equipping your team leaders and small group leaders to know how to disciple. You know what the best way how to do that is? Doing it, modeling it. You teach what you know, but you reproduce who you are. So you can teach all the knowledge about discipleship. You can teach all the head knowledge about transformation and formation, but what you are modeling is what's being multiplied. So you need to change your habits as a leader to help actually be the solution. So here's the consequence as we go through it again. When attendance becomes the win, discipleship becomes optional. You can attend for years and still be emotionally immature, still biblically shallow, and fragile. And the old way, I'm telling you, fails. You cannot build church just around gathering. You need to build disciples. And discipleship is not passive. Because if people show up consistently, they're growing. That's a lie. They're just attending. Discipleship is intentional, it's slow, it's relational, and oftentimes it's inconvenient. So here's the 4 practical shifts that I'm submitting to you today, and we're going to wrap up. You need clear next steps. You need smaller rooms. You need expectations. And you need leaders, not just communicators. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode on discipleship and formation. I think this is going to be it. This is the future. The future is tables. The future is smaller rooms. The future is clarity. The future is communicating expectations. I think that's the only way forward. I put an invite in the description for a newsletter. We send out a newsletter. I send out a newsletter every single month, and I would love for you to consume it. Learn from it, apply it to your life on just things that I'm thinking about that I'm not going to talk on a podcast. It's going to be more practical, more granular, because I want to help you. I want to serve you as much as I can. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode again. We'll see you next week.